accounts and you had your laptop. Constantly busy, these
It is.
candidates.
It's and you got to give credit to everyone who's
Yeah.
running. To run for mayor certainly is a life-changing experience for someone. And council, while it's part-time, it's time-consuming. I think the biggest thing now is the whole social media.
Yeah.
You're really putting yourself out there. Everyone's got a camera. All those gaffes that no
I mean,
one
it's
saw before.
helpful
now
but
they're,
damaging,
on
right?
film.
It's both ways. It can be helpful
It
for
is.
a campaign
It's
to get your
certainly
message.
helpful. It's changed campaigning. No ads in the paper, or very few. But, you know, online, there's ads, but the thing with online is, where are you going? There's so many different options. Back when there were maybe 2 or 3 local papers, a couple stations, it was more concentrated. Now, it's so split, you don't know who's looking at what ad or who's following what news source. So it's changed tremendously.
Yeah, one of the things that we try to do here at Durfee is stress responsible media. You know, what sources can you trust, right, Keith? I mean,
Absolutely.
we see that every day, and how much people say, well, I saw it on Facebook and I saw it on social media. Someone texted this out, and now it's the doctoring of photos and video even, and editing into that sound. But back to our election in Fall River, I was struck by probably, you're either well-known, it seems, or not so well known. I kind of put them into those camps because our well-known candidates I've known, well, for years, decades perhaps, and some of our newcomers are newcomers to me. But Keith, you were able to provide a valuable service in giving these people a platform. Can you tell me what you thought?
Yeah, you know, one of the things that I was, you know, taken aback by is, one, we never get 100% participation, right, which is always an issue. But I will say for the preliminary, we have 3 candidates for mayor and 19 candidates for city council, so a total of 22 candidates. 16 of the 22 actually came in, which is actually, I think, very good.
I think so.
That they, you know, found it valuable to use our resources to get out to the community. And what we provided was, we provided candidates a platform for a short statement where they would speak directly to the voters, and I also conducted a short interview with them. And all of them, there's without a doubt, all of them come in with their ideas, with the best interest of the city at heart, right? You can say that, Mayor, and most candidates who have run, that's their base. That's their base.
No one's going through this for any glory.
Correct.
I mean,
That's for
it's
sure.
a lot of work.
That's for
and
sure.
a lot of time away from
And we did hear a lot of the same themes, you know, public safety, housing and homelessness, the issues of affordability, economic development, you know, big things happening in the city with Route 79 and the train coming in. So the themes were similar. It's just how that is to be accomplished was what some of the differences that I saw, at least, during this season.
I mean, it's a $300 million budget that we're dealing with, right? And, you know, people, every candidate, as you mentioned, Keith, stress that voters, taxpayers want the largest bang for their buck. I mean, right? We have to run a city. We should, at least, as we run our whole households, and watch every penny. The councilors that have voted against the budget have actually been proud of that. They've said, you know, I asked tough questions, and I expected some pushback. Every single candidate I saw that you brought in also mentioned having a good working relationship, not only with current Mayor Paul Coogan, but with Sam Sutter as well when he was district attorney and mayor. So I think that being a body of 9, right, we're gonna give, and then your mayor, and of course we'll deal with school committee back when November rolls around. But yeah, crime was #1. And every candidate that I saw as well you speak to wanted to make sure we had a full contingent of police officers because we're down about 30.
Yeah.
Concerning.
And it's funny, Mayor, when you were mayor, and I know I've spoke with Police Chief Garvin, and I think he mentioned this at a city council meeting, that there was a time where you had a lot of recruits, but not enough money to bring them on board. Now, the city has money. They have extra money to fill those 30 slots or whatever is open. The number of recruits is low. I mean, when you were mayor, it was probably the other way around, right? You had plenty of recruits,
We had,
and maybe not enough money to bring as many on as you maybe have wanted.
We had 265 officers at the time, and we held that number because there were layoffs in other areas.
Right.
But yeah, the list was plentiful.
Yeah.
You know, you had a big civil service list. There's a lot of changes. This whole post, the state oversight, where they actually decertify you in a way, disbar you from being an officer.
Yeah.
that's a chill, and I think the liability is, and just the view of police officers. I know everywhere's having trouble recruiting.
Right.
Big cities are offering considerable bonuses, and it is a problem.
Yeah.
I think perhaps they've gone too far with the type of oversight. I think it should have been left more locally, and they should have beefed up internal investigations locally rather than, anytime you remove it locally, the state's going to view it in a different manner.
Right.
And it's going to be harder to
Yeah.
get across the subtleties of how someone
Right.
behaved and that.
Right.
But
When
it's
you were-
tough.
When you were mayor, there was no such thing as a tool like ShotSpotter and cameras for officers and intersections. We were talking about it today, that perhaps the intersections that photograph the car, the license plate that's speeding, right? So maybe it's taking away some of that manpower that can put these officers, these men and women, walking beats again. A lot of candidates, Keith, that you
Yeah.
spoke with talked about walking beats,
Yep.
bringing the ShotSpotter back. Motorcycles, our bike patrols, the Quequechan Trail, they're always out. So I think it's utilizing people in maybe different areas that were once really hot, like walking beats,
Yeah.
and bringing them back.
Yeah, that kind of came back in the 90s when I was
Yeah.
mayor. That whole Giuliani, Bragdon type of get on the streets policing.
right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Well, we have, obviously tonight, there's only two races on the ballot, the race for mayor and the race for city council. And I believe we have some numbers in from one of the
All right.
precincts. I believe our first precinct will be 2A, and that is going to be Blessed Trinity Church. Let's look in the race for mayor, how we have it right now. Again, very light numbers, but Mayor Paul Coogan, 52 votes, Sam Sutter, 38 votes, and Michael Vandal with 4 votes. A very, very small turnout at one of the 2 precincts at Blessed Trinity Church. In the race for city council, here are the numbers. Top 10 are listed on your screen. Joe Camara, 47 votes. Linda Pereira, 44 votes. Sean Kadim, 41 votes. Brad Kilby, 37. Those top 4 are incumbents. Followed by Ricky Tiff, who is making another run for mayor with 31 votes. He's tied with Paul Hart, Cliff Ponte, Laurel Washington, Michelle Dion, all 31 votes. Alexander Silva is 10th with 27 votes. If we can go to the next page. Andrew Raposo and Joshua Texera with 27. Gabriel Boomer Amaral at 25. Jordan Sylvia, 23. Paulo Amaral, 22. Gloria Sadler and Pam LaLiberty at 20. Bob Pearson at 15. And Joseph Salvador, 19th at 10 votes. Very, very small numbers thus far.
very low. And
Well, let me interrupt for 1 minute, Mayor. Ryan Lyons was hoping for even 16%. He's our
Yeah,
election
we're not,
commissioner here in the city. Yeah.
doesn't look like we'll get there.
Is
And,
it frustrating for a candidate? You throw yourself out there, I don't know, right? Lack of attention, empathy, what goes on?
we had bigger turnouts.
Yeah, we did.
The 80s and 90s. I mean, you'd get elected with 18,000 votes in the finals. So, that was your vote, never
Yeah.
mind. So, no, it's fallen off. And again, tonight, I think, in fairness to the voters, you're knocking one person
Right.
off 2 ballots. So,
Right.
it didn't generate, I don't think, a lot of interest.
One of the things that's interesting is this is the first election since 2015 that there is a preliminary for city council. And there haven't been one for school committee for a long time either.
Yeah.
So the preliminary elections have always been slow, and in the last few cycles, it's only been mayor. So again, even less of an incentive for a number of people to come out.
It's hard to attract candidates. It is police officers. It is. It's
Which one
just,
pays more, right? For time on the
well.
street, I don't know, right? And aggravation. But I do want to recognize Ryan Lyons. He's been our election and commissioner here since 2020. Does a great job. Ryan spoke with my colleague Evan Massoud and I today. He actually started setting up the polling areas at the schools yesterday. And interestingly enough, which we talked about some confusion, there was school today. But in November, there won't be school. So let's speak now with Ryan Lyons, our election commissioner.
It's a big commitment to run for office, and I have to applaud anyone who is willing to come to this office, request nomination papers, and run a campaign, because it's a big process. It takes a lot out of your life to run for office. And I commend people who step up to volunteer with a campaign, to help a candidate to find a cause to help the city of Fall River. This is part of it. So whether you're running for office, you're helping a candidate, you're finding an issue that really matters to you, get involved in this process one way or the other. I encourage every resident of the city of Fall River to do so. I'm hoping to defy my prediction of 16 to 18% turnout, Pam. I am really hoping. I mean, the last time we had a preliminary election for both mayor and for city council was in 2015 with a 22% voter turnout.
All right, we have another precinct coming in right now. This is in the North End, Calvary Temple 9C. And in the race for mayor, again, Mayor Paul Coogan doing very well, 120 votes. Sam Sutter, 77, and Michael Vandal, 6. As we head to City Council now, numbers 1 through 10. Alexander Silva doing well, 59 votes, followed by Andrew Raposo at 56. Actually, these numbers are not sorted. Is it possible for us to resort those numbers, please? Can we take these down for now? Because we'd like to give them in the correct order. So we'll fix those and get them right back to you.
You know, some issues just bounce around like a bad penny, right? The floods, combined sewer overflow project. I've been able to lucky before they opened up those. I went down in the bowels of the city. It was just amazing to see with my late coworker Phil Sabatino to film down there. And homelessness, crime, the drugs. It gets better, and then it kind of ekes back again. And I want to make it clear that these seem to be, like school absenteeism, national problems. We're not talking about just Fall River. Mm-hmm. School absenteeism is hitting schools across the country, was poor before COVID, and now it's just taken on a life of its own. I think people have fabulous ideas, but you're working with a budget that is restrictive. In Massachusetts, of course, there's only a certain percentage we can raise taxes. Every candidate, too, Keith, said that they are worried not only for their own families, but for the elders that they know, the veterans that they know, and the parents that are working 2 jobs and still having difficulty. Would you agree with that, that you heard that theme?
Yeah, definitely just the cost of living. And, you know, we talk about inflation that came up following the pandemic, whether it was government created or not.
Right.
Cost of goods have gone up. Obviously, housing is the huge issue across the country again. The price for rents, I really don't know how some people can afford them. As you mentioned, Pam, it's just been very difficult for people. And I don't know, Mayor, what can a mayor do? Or what can even any local government do other than maybe the climate a little bit, business climate, to help in that area of housing and make it
There's
more
not
affordable?
much because you're not allowed to regulate rents in Massachusetts. I'm not sure you would want to because it results in less than quality housing. But I think the city does have a good handle on certain things, such as through the community development programs it has. Some of the properties it fixes up, some of the abandoned properties it comes in, takes over and manage to either fix up with public money or private money. But overall, it's limited. It was interesting, one thing I've read recently, which I didn't realize, is the extent of single-family homes owned by large corporations now. That there's just been a big push. I don't know how much we've seen here, but I know some of the presidential candidates are talking about that now, that one thing they'll do is they would limit the ability of large corporations to buy single-family homes. And what I can't believe is rents in Fall River, how during the pandemic, when you thought things were going to fall through the floor, instead they jumped
Went
over
the other
the
way.
roof. You know, rents went up literally from $700-800 for a 3-family to 12, 15, 16.
Yeah.
And it's something that, other than what people paid for those houses, you can't explain.
Yeah. All right, let's see if we've got the updated numbers. Here we go now. This is 9C again, Calvary Temple. This is the city council count. Paul Hart, 101 votes. Linda Pereira, 1 behind at 100, followed by Brad Kilby. Cliff Ponte and Joe Camara with 86 votes. Sean Kadim with 74. Laurel Washington, 61. Alexander Silva and Ricky Tiff, both doing well thus far in the early voting with 59 votes each. Andrew Raposo at 56 votes. And on the second page, Gabriel Boomer Amaral with 56 as well. Pamela Liberty with 55. Gloria Sadler, Jordan Sylvia, 53 votes apiece. Michelle Dion at 52. Bob Pearson, 51. Joshua Teixeira, 45, Paulo Amaral at 32, and Joseph Salvador, 29. The only thing we can glean here is something that we kind of anticipated going in. The mayor's race looks like it will be Sam Sutter and Mayor Coogan going to the final election, 1 and 2. Still not much to glean from city council as of yet, with only 2 precincts that we have in anyway.
And you have a north end and a south end district.
Right.
So, precincts, so, you know, the little variation in the council seemed to be the location of the candidates.
Well, glad you brought that up, because we actually have a map. We have a
I saw
map
that.
that split the council candidates based on where they live. And if we can show that, that'll be a big help. As you can see, if you have 195 there right in the middle, a large majority, I believe
Yeah.
16 of the 19 candidates would be north of 195, where only Joshua Teixeira, Paulo Amaral, and Michelle Dion in the south end, or the southern end of the city. So very interesting to see where these candidates are coming from, and the mayoral candidates as well live,
Right.
north of 195. So very interesting to see with our push pins where the candidates reside in relation to the votes that'll be coming in, depending on what part of the city that they do come in from.
I mean, ward councilors, it's an issue that's been tossed around. It's popular in New Bedford. It's popular in some of our
It's also a
surrounding cities.
constitutional issue. It's amazing how this city has gotten away with it. There's clear Supreme Court decisions that, for ethnic and race reasons, there should be ward councilors.
Well, I mean, you're on
It's
the special charter committee,
Yeah.
finishing up its
Something
work.
we've
Did it
considered,
come up
yeah.
again this year?
It's come up. We haven't done a final report yet,
Right.
but it's come up and it's been discussed. There's not much support for it in the city
Are
historically.
you in favor of it? Sounds kind of like you are.
I think it, yeah. I do think, I'm originally from the South End, and I believe at one point there were 3 city councilors on Meridian Street alone. I know them all, they were all great councilors, but it seemed like, although I don't think Meridian Street ever got paved, so I don't know how much happened, but it was,
They didn't have
I
any
believe it was
polls.
I was
3
gonna say,
on
they didn't have
Meridian.
much pull, did they?
But I do think that's something that's got to be looked at.
Yeah.
And maybe long-term,
Yeah.
because there is, like I said, there are civil rights cases on that. That was a favorite tactic down south of you just have citywide elections and no
Right.
wards, and
Yeah.
it would dilute the black vote.
Yeah, absolutely.
We also spoke today with Elmer Mays. He is the warden at 1C, which is at Laterno Elementary School in the South End. We were happy to hit that today. Elmer's been doing poll counting and setting up, watching ballots for about 10 years. He says it's a great way just to get out, talk to people, and he's proud of the work he does. So this is Elmer Mays in 1C. What do you want to say to the public to ensure that their vote matters and that their vote is safe?
Okay. Well, the machine that we have, it is secured. Whenever they put in their ballots, they're cast, they're tallied in the machine. At the end of the night, it goes down to City Hall. I think Ryan's probably explained that to you. And then that's where they get counted. What we do here with the paper ones at the end of the night, we just bundle them up, give them to a police officer. He brings them down so they have the documentation there. I enjoy the people. That's why I do it. And to make sure, that the political system runs smoothly.
And speaking of Laterno School, we have results from one of the 2 precincts there. This is 1A. In the race for mayor, Paul Coogan, 118 votes, Sam Sutter, 105, Michael Vandal, 14. Moving on now to the City Council, Linda Pereira doing well at Laterno School, 103 votes, followed by Sean Kadim at 99, Cliff Ponte, 94, Joe Camara, 93, Joshua Teixeira, 87, Andrew Raposo, 84, Michelle Dion, 83, Paul Hart, who's looking to get back onto the City Council, in 8th at 76, Gabriel Boomer Amaral at 73 votes, Jordan James Sylvia also 73 votes. And the other vote getters here, Brad Kilby, 73 votes as well, Ricky Tith, 67, Paulo Amaral, 65, again, one of those South End candidates, Alexander Silva with 58 votes, Bob Pearson with 57, Gloria Sadler, 56, Laura Washington, 55, Pam La Liberty at 47, and Joseph Salvador at 34. So one of the things that I'm seeing over the past couple of precincts was a couple of the incumbents, Laura Washington and Pamela Liberty, seem to be further down than I probably would have expected. Although, again, we've only counted 3 precincts here.
And
thus
unofficial
far.
numbers,
Right.
right? Election commissioners have approximately a week to get that done if there are any write-ins. And I did want to talk a little bit about the ballots that are mail-in ballots. There were 4,500 requested mail-in ballots. Just over 2,000 have been returned. So today, you had to bring the ballot into Ryan. You could not deliver it at the polling places. So that was, you know, if anybody had a snafu with that. He says approximately 50% have come back. And those machines, the DS200, are widely in use in the Commonwealth. It seems secure, despite there's no checkout, right? We talked about that too. So
Surprised
you used
me.
to go up to
Yeah.
the table and they'd ask your name, make sure that the person who did indeed take the ballot is indeed turning the ballot back. Seems like a system that, according to our officials that we spoke with today, is working, is safe, is trustworthy, and that's what we're going with.
And if we could just take a moment, hats off to the poll workers. Never thought it would become a hazardous profession.
I know.
I mean, it was typically something people did. They loved it.
Volunteering for
And
fun.
it was an interesting day, a long day, but interesting. Where I vote today, 2 of either 3 of the 4 people didn't make it. And, you know, I don't know why. I didn't vote particularly early. So I don't know if some people just feel, you know, it's too much bother. You don't hear of anything in the city, and I know I've talked to Ryan. He hasn't had anyone threatened or anything like
Right.
that. But there is this whole question over it now, and I think it's always been noble in the sense it's a long day, you give up a lot,
Yeah.
but people have enjoyed it. But anyways, hats off to all those poll workers who did
Yeah.
show up today. And
Yep. Absolutely. We have more numbers. Back to the Laterno School for 1C, Precinct 1C. In the race for mayor again, Mayor Paul Coogan on top with 106 votes, Sam Sutter with 57, and Michael Vandal with 11. City Council now in order. Sean Kadim on top with 75 votes, followed by Linda Pereira with 73, Andrew Raposo 72, Cliff Ponte in fourth with 66 votes, followed by Joshua Texera 65 votes. Again, use one of those 3 South End candidates on the ballot. Michelle Dion as well, 63 votes. Joe Camara and Paul Hart tied with 60 votes. Gabriel Boomer Amaral, 59 votes. Brad Kilby, 56. Second page, Laura Washington and Jordan Sylvia, 52 votes each. Alexander Silva, 50 votes. Paulo Amaral, 45. Ricky Tith, 40 votes. Gloria Sadler, 36. Pamela Liberty, 36. Bob Pearson, 32. And Joseph Salvador, 21. So we have gone through 4 precincts. Again, I'm very intrigued by the low numbers that we've seen thus far. And Laterno School is not a small precinct, right?
no, that's 2
precincts there.
good-sized precincts.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big vote there.
Well, the process is, according to Ryan, at 6 a.m., the police officers show up at Government Center, which we saw down below before, and they pick up the cards, and they pick up the papers, and everything's really checks and balance. Again, I can only speak from what I see here in Fall River and from what the officials that I work with show me regularly. So here's some video that we took this morning over at Laterno. We also visited several other schools. You can see some of the candidates were outside as well. There are definite mandates where how close people can get with their signs. So this was actually to the entrance over at Laterno, and the candidates stayed respectively out, to the side. No one was harassed. People were friendly, talking on one side of the other. So, Mayor, did you find this to be particularly nasty of a race? Because I didn't really see it between our 3 mayoral candidates.
Not at all.
No, me neither. I think, and in fact, the council, people that are running for council described both gentlemen, Mayor Coogan and Mr. Sutter, as good friends, as easy to work with, good lawmakers. Of course, we know that Sam Sutter was district attorney for quite some time and then mayor for a while. He did speak as well about feeling like he kind of just hit the ground and then got booted out. So wanted to come back in and finish what he started. He had a mentor in John Mitchell from New Bedford. But it seemed to me clean. I mean, tell me what you saw, having been someone who's gone through
I
this.
thought it was an exceptionally quiet campaign.
Yeah.
And no, you didn't hear much said one way or another. Again, part of it is a lot said online in social media, but it's not coming from the candidates. And I don't think
That's
they have
troubling.
any control of it.
Right?
But it's going to happen.
Yeah.
It's,
But I mean, it's an opinion
Yeah.
from a person that may have a personal vendetta. It's not coming from these candidates directly to the candidates on issues that they've studied and they've researched and they have spoken with the voters about. And it's where we live in, as we mentioned.
All right, we actually have some more numbers. Go back to the far north end of the city again. Calvary Temple 9B. Race for mayor. Mayor Coogan 174 votes. Sam Sutter 95. Michael Vandal 7. So it looks like right now it'll be 1-2 Mayor Coogan and Sam Sutter coming in second. Far north end now for the City Council Precinct 9B. Brad Kilby on top, 134 votes. Linda Pereira 131, followed by Joe Camaro at 115. Paul Hart 105, Sean Kadim 102. Cliff Ponte 94 votes. Michelle Dion 96 votes. Andrew Raposo 81 votes. Jordan Sylvia 79 votes. Laura Washington doing better in the north end at 74 votes. Page 2, in 11th place, Ricky Tith with 73 votes, followed by Pamela Liberty with 69 votes, Joshua Texera, 68 votes, Gabriel Boomer Amaral, 66, Bob Pearson, 64, Gloria Sadler, 62, Alexander Silva, 59, Paulo Amaral, 52, and Joseph Salvador, 27. Mr. Salvador has appeared on the bottom of a lot of these precincts thus far, although again, 5th precinct that we've reported, there's still, 22 that we don't know about.
That's right. And we're here for the night until we wrap up and get all those precincts in. I think that one part I wanted to talk to you about, Mayor, is endorsements. How importantly do you feel about that? Mayor Coogan's campaign leaders were in touch with us this week, and he received endorsements from Congressman Jake Auchincloss, as well as former Governor Charlie Baker and former Lieutenant Governor Karen Polito. They all three called him a good person to work with, understanding of issues, motivated, had good things to say. How important are those endorsements from police, firefighters, teachers unions, and of course elected officials that you may have worked with in the past?
I think they're helpful from unions or organized groups in the sense if they actually put something together for you, whether it's fundraising or they get people out to work for you. Individual endorsements, who's that popular? Tom Brady endorses you, it might mean something, but the minute you get to anyone controversial, and every politician is now. Charlie Baker was very popular, but,
Yeah.
he didn't run for the last term, and there was a reason, because I don't think he was getting through a Republican primary,
Yeah.
or it would have been so close. So I've never felt those, they don't hurt, and I think for an incumbent, they add something that, when the former governor and lieutenant governor that you worked with endorse you, it lends you credence and some credibility. But I don't think they were down here knocking on doors for him. So
No, I don't think I didn't see the former governor knocking on doors for Mayor
maybe you
Coogan.
got some football tickets to an
That's a-
NCAA game out of him. But
Oh, that's right. He's now the,
Yeah,
he's now
he's
the head of the
NCAA.
NCAA. You're right.
so maybe you can get you into a Georgia game.
Even the lack of signage, right? I used to be I would love driving by the houses and they have 10 signs out. So they're like, we're just keeping the peace, man, right? You asked me to put a sign up, I'm going to put a sign up for opposing candidates. We saw a couple out there for mayor, fairly equal amount, I thought. What
Yeah.
about you, Keith? What did you think?
Yeah, I mean, we always talk about this. Obviously, mayor signs don't vote, right?
Right.
And, both former Mayor Sutter and Mayor Coogan have a number of signs out there. Some of the city councils, the incumbents tend to have more signage out there. You've got some that, some of the newcomers have signs, sprinkled here and there, not widespread. I think a lot of it comes down to what people can do either face-to-face still, because there's still value in that, right, Mayor?
I
Meeting
think
people
it's
door to
still the
door,
best thing, and
right?
you see it even on a national stage in New Hampshire and Iowa. That's what they're doing. You meet people one-on-one.
All right, we have some more numbers coming in. This is 8C, Spencer Borden School, and a big win here for the mayor at Spencer Borden, 235 votes, Sam Sutter 95 votes, and Michael Vandal with 7 votes in the race for mayor. For City Council, Linda Pereira on top, 171 votes, followed by Paul Hart, 158. Andrew Raposo and Brad Kilby next with 147 votes apiece. Sean Kadim, 135 votes. Joe Camara, 131 votes. In 7th, Cliff Ponte, 127 votes. Alexander Silva, polling well tonight, 101 votes. Michelle Dion, 99 votes. Bob Pearson, 92 votes in 10th. 11 through 19 now, Laura Washington, 84 votes. Boomer Amaral, 74 votes. Ricky Tith, 72 votes. Jordan Sylvia with 69. Pamela Liberty with 60. Joshua Tixera, 59. Gloria Sadler, 52. Paulo Amaral, 50 votes. And Joseph Salvador with 28. So that's one of the bigger precincts we've seen tonight.
Yeah, that's always a pretty good vote, but you were told it was 12.5% there, right?
12.5%.
So we might be at 9% before it's over, who knows?
Mayor Coogan was elected 3.5 years ago, and at that time he stressed stability, transparency, integrity. In 2021, he won every precinct over Cliff Ponte, putting his hat in the ring now for City Council back again. Do people feel familiar, right? Mr. Coogan was a Durfee principal, right? Mayor Coogan's he's here, and I think he's accessible. I see him at every event on the weekends, making an effort to be wherever it is, ribbon cuttings and speaking. It can be exhausting, I would imagine.
It is, Paul's my age, so I can say it. We were much younger then, and it was a little easier for me, I think. I don't know how he does it. He's in great shape.
I know you're constantly
and
busy, right? But
Is difference working all day and then having to go out and smile. That's hard work.
Yeah, definitely different.
You know, to go out somewhere for another 2 hours and, you know, be expected to speak and be in a good mood no matter what happened, no matter how tough the day was at the office, what's on your mind, what family commitments you might have. But you show up somewhere. But it's part of it, and people do it all over the country in large numbers.
Right, absolutely.
And Sam Sutter said the same thing. He said, you know, it's split into your fiscal job, right? So everybody wants to see their money spent wisely and spent well. But at the same time, as you alluded to, Mayor, you have to be at the 100th birthday party, right, for the woman down the street, and you have to be at the ribbon cutting. You have to throw the first pitch out for Little League. It's exhausting.
Yeah, and that was something that Sam said to us in the interview, that when he was elected mayor following the recall of former Mayor Flanagan, you know, he said, a district attorney, you're asked to do the job.
Right.
You're not asked to be visible. You're asked to get the job done. As mayor, you're expected to be everywhere. And that's, I think, his exact quote. You're expected to be everywhere. And I think he even acknowledged that caught him off guard a little bit, because he was in the mindset of a manager, someone maybe behind the scenes, but a leader in that aspect, not a visible leader. And that, I think, is a big difference between the job of a mayor versus, say, a district attorney.
I always felt that, oh, the mayor's here, that's good. When the mayor wasn't there, then you heard about it. So yeah, it was expected, and that's the reason for it. It was expected that the mayor would be at these things. You represent the city, and it was important to these organizations and groups and even individual families.
Right. We are still awaiting some final numbers from Government Center. You can see their election central right now as they're waiting for the little flash drives that actually hold the count of the ballots at the precincts. And what we're going to do right now, I think we're going to take a little break, and we're going to come back with the mayor and Pam in about a couple of minutes, and we'll have more from Election 2023 here on FRC Media and FRG TV.
Hi, my name is Laura Ferreira. I am the Director of Traffic and Parking for the City of Fall River. As the school year begins, we want to remind everyone of the school zone safety laws. Crosswalks are here for a reason: your safety. Please use them. Always wait for a crossing guard to stop traffic and escort you safely. Drivers, please use caution when entering a school zone. 20-mile-per-hour speed limits are strictly enforced as mandated by state law. By being respectful and patient with one another, we can all arrive at our destination on time and in one piece. Thank you for your attention. If you have concerns or questions, please contact my office at 508-324-2123. Let's have a wonderful school year.
Fall River Public Schools has opportunities for positions in multiple areas for people looking to work with the next generation. Come grow with our team. We have openings for teachers, paraprofessionals, and teaching assistants, and other educational support positions available. We are also looking to fill operations support positions such as custodial, security, and food service. We offer competitive salary and benefit plans. We have rewarding work available in our 21st century schools and learning environments. Come grow with us. Please contact the Human Resources Department at 508-675-8420, extension 53708, or see our postings on our website at fallriverschools.org.
I'm Mike Labossiere, Watuppa Reservation Forester.
And I'm Paul Furlan, the Administrator of Community Utilities.
Protecting open space is a benefit today, and it's a gift to future generations.
For over 150 years, Fall River has been a leader in environmental preservation. The Southeastern Massachusetts Bioreserve ensures forests and fields remain undeveloped and accessible. The Community Preservation Act is a vital component to fulfill climate goals.
Since 2017, CPA funds totaling nearly $1.3 million have been used to acquire conservation areas in Fall River. Educational programs within the bioreserve connect families to nature and promote understanding and respect for diverse culture, history, and wildlife.
Half of Fall River, about 12,000 acres, an area the size of Mattapoisett, is protected water and woodland. Healthy forests minimize flooding, reduce erosion, and provide habitat for endangered species.
As the region expands manufacturing and technology, people are directly reliant on green infrastructure as an irreplaceable source of clean water and air.
Miles of trails wind through unique landscapes which appeal to hikers, cross-country skiers, and mountain bikers. Specific areas are open for safe seasonal hunting. The Bioreserve promises endless discoveries and recreational experiences year-round.
CPA funds have supported thousands of significant projects in Massachusetts. Thank you for your continued interest in community beautification and betterment.
Stand by.
Okay, welcome back. Election Watch 2023. We are reporting live from our studio here at Durfee High School. Keith, I think we might have some unofficial
We do.
precincts.
This is it. We got the numbers in. We're talking about waiting, and now they're here. These are the final numbers. 27 of 27 precincts in the race for mayor. Incumbent Mayor Paul Coogan and former Mayor Sam Sutter have advanced to the November general election. Mayor Coogan, 4,285 votes. Sam Sutter, 2,516 votes. Michael Vandal, 326 votes. Now the city council race. 27 of 27 precincts. Linda Pereira on top, 3,538 votes, followed by Brad Kilby, 3,157. Joe Camara, third, 3,141, followed by Sean Kadim, 3,027 votes. Cliff Ponte, looking to make a return to the city council, finished fifth, 2,933 votes, followed by Paul Hart, also looking to return to the city council, 2,894 votes. Andrew Raposo, incumbent, 7th, 2,557. Michelle Dion, also an incumbent, 2,431. Alexander Silva in 9th, strong showing, 2,110 votes. And Gabriel Boomer Amaral just outside the top 9 at 10th with 2,006 votes. 11 through 19 now. Jordan James Sylvia in 11th place, 1,960 votes. Laura Washington, 1,942 votes. Pam LaLiberty, another incumbent, in 13th place, 1,843 votes, followed by Ricky Tith, 1,752. Joshua Teixeira, 1,635. Bob Pearson, 1,528 votes. Gloria Sadler, 1,464 votes. And the 18th place finisher, moving on, Paulo Amaral, 1,310 votes. And Joseph Salvador, not making the cut in the preliminary election, finishing with 892 votes. Anything to glean there? A couple of incumbents or current councilors
Yeah.
below the top
Yeah,
9.
true. Yes.
Surprising? Well, based on the
Yeah,
turnout, right?
yeah. I mean, they're both within striking. It's not a large number of votes.
Yeah,
but,
I'd love to get a total number of votes if we have it, because I do have this handy-dandy chart which will give a percentage that I would like to use tonight.
Less than 7,300.
So 7,300 would put us between 12 and 13% of registered voters coming out
So
today.
Commissioner Lyons fell short of his goal there,
Yep.
right?
through no
yeah.
fault of his own, though.
Through no fault of his own or the folks that work in his office tirelessly. It's about $60,000 of a cost to a city
Yeah.
to run an
I know, it's
election, right?
expensive. Yeah.
There was a time I think the city printed these ballots on their own, and now there's a company that's contracted out, so they're not printed by the city any longer. Really, again, privatization, always an issue, right? What do we do with trash? What do we do with school bus transportation? These are issues that I think that the voters, myself, the candidates need to think about so that they're prepared for our upcoming debates that we've already sent out some invites for regarding school committee. Keith, you'll be leading some of those as well.
We'll be leading some as well. We're waiting to hear from some of the candidates that are replaying. Here's Mayor Coogan, I believe.
Just for 1 minute, just pause and think about our public safety officers, particularly our firemen. They're down on Brighton Street. Right now, fighting a very serious 3-alarm fire. I did get to go down there and saw the coordination and the effort, and those guys were grinding to get that building next to the fire saved and to put the fire out. So again, if we could just take a moment of silence for them to honor the work they're doing right now on Brighton Street in Fall River. Thank you. Okay. Now, with that being said, the focus of today in Fall River was winning an election against a very, very strong opponent, a former district attorney, a former mayor, and I can't tell you enough how great this victory feels, how much work went into it, and it's not because of Paul Coogan, it's because of the team in this room and the people in this city that know and respect hard work, and that's what's going to be. I thought we were getting invaded, I'm sorry guys. The hard work that goes into this race and what we did today in the city was nothing short of spectacular. We worked every precinct, we did the best we could, and I can't thank you all enough. I owe you a tremendous debt of gratitude, and I really appreciate what's going on in the city. So give yourselves a hand. I appreciate it. And I'm going to tease you a little bit. Tomorrow we're getting 2 big endorsements. So we're going to have the Democratic endorsements, we're going to have the Republican endorsements, we're going to have the Congressman endorsements, and we're going to go straight to work tomorrow to keep the focus on winning the election in November. I love this job, and I take it very, very seriously. I try to go to work every single day to make Fall River a better place to live. And that's the whole secret to this job. It's not a deal, it's not who knows what's going where. It's how do we make the city a better place to live and work together. I want to congratulate the councilors tonight on the hard-fought race they had also. We'll see who ends up in November in the top 9. But with that being said, the only thing I want to make sure you leave tonight from Dunnies, I want to thank, obviously, the Donovan family for hosting us. I really appreciate this. Leave tonight, know the work is beginning tomorrow. And second of all, I can't do it without you. I appreciate every single one of you and the help you've given me through the years. We're going to wrap this up in November simply because of your efforts and the work you put in, all of you, to making this city a better place to live. Thank you all very, very much.
I'll hear what he has to say at the
Headquarters, he's at Origin Restaurant across from the courthouse downtown.
Okay. Here we go. So guys, these are the numbers, and I love numbers. Right now, 5%, so the percentage of people who voted. Oh, yep. I don't know. I don't know. Okay? All right, folks, this is the reality. About 7,000 people voted. I think he had a little bit over 4,000, 4,200. I had about 2,500. So the last time I did math, that's about 7,000 people. Do you know how many people are going to vote on November 7th of this year, 6 weeks from now, 42 days from now? 16 to 17,000 people minimum. So that means another 10,000 people or more are going to vote. And we're 1,700 votes down. That's all. So it is a very, and he knows it, it's a very, very winnable race. It's just this simple. A lot of people who were undecided or not paying attention didn't vote. But on November 7th, they are going to vote. And I'm telling you right now, I am convinced because it's right for Fall River, that we will win a majority of the entire vote on November the 7th. Now, he doesn't want to debate me, but I don't see how he can duck it. He's been ducking it from the moment I announced. I said every opportunity, I'm ready to start the debates now. And he's got to debate because we know what Fall River's issues are. He doesn't want to talk about crime, which is soaring, especially shootings. He doesn't want to talk about taxes, which are soaring. He doesn't want to talk about the lack of new business. Why are we here? Do you know why we're here at Origin? Because this is the only new business to come into the downtown since Paul Coogan's become mayor. That's unacceptable. So, he doesn't want to talk about that. He doesn't want to talk about the lack of new business in our other downtown, the Flint. He doesn't want to talk about the lack of new business on the waterfront. That's unbelievable to me. That beautiful waterfront with no new business in the last 4 years. So, and he doesn't want to talk about what goes along with the lack of new business. And you know what that is? That's taxes soaring. Because when you don't bring in new business, and you've got to pay for Durfee, and you've got to pay for Diamond, taxes keep going up. If we don't bring in new business, we're going to drive people out of Fall River that want to stay but can't afford the taxes. So these are big-time issues that need to be debated. Crime, lack of new business, taxes, homelessness, the high rents, and I've got answers. He doesn't, so let's have debates, right?
Yes, sir!
Fall River is at a crossroads, okay? We have seen Fall River not move forward as fast, not nearly as fast as it's had the potential to do. And what makes that so unacceptable is that he had $60 million of federal money to get Fall River going, and he hasn't been able to figure out how to do it. And now there's another $30 million sitting there. $30 million. Who do the people of Fall River want to entrust with that $30 million? Paul Coogan, and I don't like referring to myself in the third person, but Paul Coogan or Sam Sutter? You tell me.
Sam Sutter!
Who do the people of Fall River want to entrust to do something about the soaring crime? Paul Coogan or Sam Sutter?
Sam Sutter! Sam Sutter!
Who do the people of Fall River want to entrust to do something about their soaring taxes? Paul Coogan or Sam Sutter?
Sam Sutter! Sam Sutter!
One more. I'm going to take a little detour. Some people mistakenly associate me with that failed purple bag trash program, okay? Can I please remind you, I like the mayor personally who put that program into place, but I didn't. So folks who are listening, that wasn't my program. I was stuck with it. There was a 4-year contract. I couldn't get out of it, but I can tell you right now, if you're listening, I promise, and everybody in this room, a lot of these people worked for me when I was district attorney, you know I keep my campaign promises. If I'm mayor, those purple bags will never come back. No purple bags. And I'll say one more thing, and I'm almost done, okay? The people of Fall River have spoken about how they feel about their taxes and how they feel about new fees, okay? Bob Correa, God rest his soul, he put in a rainwater tax, and what did the people of Fall River say? No. And he was only a one-term mayor. And the mayor after that put in the purple bag program, and what happened? He was out. And then I put in that new fee, and what happened to me? Out. So that's the second promise I make you. No purple bags and no new fees on my watch.
Yes, sir. Yes. So Sam
That's it. So finally, before I make my very last point, okay, I want to thank everybody in this room. Because, as I tell every chance I get, James Carville, who I think is a great political consultant, man, thinker, he says the greatest thing, and he's been through dozens of campaigns, the one human being can give to another after their love is their free labor. Their free labor. And everybody in this room has done that. Not just today, but many other times to help me out. So my heart goes out to you, and I am deeply grateful to you, but I'm going to ask you one more rodeo, okay? Yeah. 6 weeks, 42 days, 6 weeks, 42 days. Let's go, gentlemen, let's win this race. Yes, sir!
Let's do it!
As you can expect, both camps with different messages. Sam Sutter, again, behind right now. If you would take the numbers on the attack right away, the mayor a little more conciliatory and thankful for his supporters and touting the work that he and his administration has done over the past almost 4 years now.
Looking forward to debates. Keith, what do you think?
Yeah, we're actually going to be organizing some forums and debates as we head toward the between now and November election. We'll be making the announcements very, very soon, but we have some dates set up, and Pam will be joining us on our panel of people asking questions for the candidates, and we'll be holding one for City Council, School Committee, and Mayor, and hopefully all the candidates will show up.
And same thing over here at Durfee. We'll be working with student government, students from Fred TV, as well as some of our elected student leaders here from Durfee High School. We will be working with the school committee candidates. And that's always fun, working with the students who want to hear directly from the men and women who decide what programs will and will not work, right? We'll talk about perhaps some of the ARPA money and the school money, as well as all the new schools that have been built. We're working at 3 close high schools. You represent also Bristol Aggie.
Bristol Aggie. Yes, and they've all been built, or will be built in a short period of time. But all worthwhile. That MSBA program is a great, efficient program. You don't have any of the problems they had with the original Durfee. Well, the last Durfee, the first publicly built Durfee, which was about 100 yards from us right now.
Yeah, really.
But it's
We're
one
proud
of the
of
many
our new
issues.
school.
It's a
Yeah.
beautiful
Should be.
facility.
Absolutely.
We are. And that's where we're broadcasting from tonight. Our Fred TV studio. We have students behind the cameras. I think that wraps it up, but 42 days. We will be back here again to run down the numbers with you. In the interim, we'll be hosting debates as well.
And I think we're going to run down the numbers if you're just joining us one last time. Final numbers tonight, 27 of 27 precincts. Mayor Paul Coogan on top in the mayor's race, 4,285 votes. Sam Sutter, 2,516. And Michael Vandal, 326 votes. City Council race, the top 18 here will move on to November. Number 1 spot goes to Linda Pereira, 3,538 votes, followed by incumbents Brad Kilby, 3,157 votes, Joe Camara, 3,141, and Sean Kadim, 3,027. Cliff Ponte, former city councilor, looking to return. He's in 5th place in the preliminary election, 2,933 votes, followed by former councilor, current school committee member looking to get back on the council, Paul Hart, 2,894 votes. Andrew Rebello is 7th, 2,557. Michelle Dion, 2,431. Newcomer Alexander Silva in 9th, 2,110 votes. Gabriel Boomer Amaral in 10th, 2,006 votes. 11 through 19 now, Jordan James Sylvia, 1,960 votes. Laura Washington, 1,942 votes. Pam LaLiberty, 13th place, incumbent, 1,843 votes. Ricky Tiff, 1,752 votes. Joshua Texera, 1,635. Bob Pearson, 1,528 votes. Gloria Sadler in 17th, 1,464 votes. Paulo Amaral gets into the final slot in the general election, 1,310 votes. And Joseph Salvador, the odd person out tonight with 892 votes.
So if we go by just the top 9, just tonight, there's really one newcomer, and this is, of course, Andrew's second run.
Right, and we could see a potential return for Paul Hart and Cliff Ponte.
Right.
And with 2 current councilors, Laura Washington and Pam Liberty, outside of that top 9, actually I believe 12 and 13. So they got some work to do, no doubt about it. But let me just ask you, before we wrap up, you know, as we mentioned before, this is the first time we've had a preliminary election for city council since 2015. How important is it to get that barometer? Even though the turnout was low, there's a lot of variables there.
As a candidate, it's very helpful because it's a good poll.
Right.
So, you know, you can look at where your strengths are, but also go to, that's what I always used it for, is, you know, you'd pick out those precincts you weren't as strong and, you know, try to find people there, go door to door, particularly with the council, with the multiple votes. You know, you're not asking for someone not to vote for the local or their friend who's the candidate,
Right.
But you go and present yourself. So it is helpful, I think, for to have a primary. You know, the 2 incumbents who are out a bit, they'll be able to determine, you know, where they were weak and also find out what did cause it, you know, because you talk to people and they'll give you an idea. But I just want to say one thing we overlooked talking about people who want to run, competitiveness.
Right.
And I know both Sam Sutter and Paul Coogan played sports with Paul Coogan. They both have the most pleasant demeanor. They're sociable, affable gentlemen, but they are both very competitive. Paul didn't show a lot of it tonight, but it's there. That's what struck me about Sam Sutter.
Yeah.
He's just
Definitely came
very,
through.
very
Yeah.
competitive.
Definitely came through.
I mean, in
And
defense
that's a
of the-
big part of, particularly running for these one-on-one offices. It's just your name out there, and you've got to be extremely competitive.
Yep.
I mean, in defense of the mayor, though, wow, that was a fire, you know, to have that
Oh, I'm
breakup.
not talking, believe me, he's
Yeah.
competitive. Oh, no.
No, I
He's,
mean,
yeah.
tonight, he definitely
Yeah.
had other issues,
Oh, yeah.
worried about the
Yeah.
public service. You know,
But,
leaving
yeah.
Durfee, I said, okay, things are fine. Got home very close to Durfee and said, wow, you know, people were out just saying what was going
Yeah.
on, closing windows. So, and then it seemed like the fire tapered down a bit, kicked back in. Again, just one of those things that crops up when you are in charge of a city and a $300 million budget is a 3-alarm fire right on the night of a preliminary election, COVID, snowstorms, right? There's just
there's
things
no
you can't
ends.
predict.
Well, you may
No one.
you may remember 22 years ago, preliminary election was held on September 11, 2001.
Yeah.
So there was a different situation there. But again,
Right.
another event that obviously wasn't a local event. It was a national event, but we all felt it locally as well.
Right.
And I remember covering that election that night as well, and it was very little interest. And that was a preliminary election night.
New York City
2001.
canceled their election that
Yeah,
day.
absolutely. Yeah.
So we have 2 former and current athletes, right?
Very
going head to
competitive.
head. Tennis,
Yes, yeah.
basketball.
Yep.
One of them married to a former Olympian.
Paul
so
was a great runner. He ran a lot, too.
we'll see how that goes. And we sure
Yeah,
you'll be back
but,
again, right? On
it's a
November
big
7th.
quality in candidates. It really is.
As always, thank you very much for being
Thank you.
with us
Enjoyed
there.
being
Appreciate it,
here.
as
and,
always.
Those counts coming quick.
We'll see you in, what is it? We'll see you in 42 days, hopefully.
Is that
You'll
it?
be with us?
Look forward
6
to
weeks.
it. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Pamela Martin reporting for Fall River Government Television. We're assisted tonight not only by our crew here at Durfee, but we also have FRC Media, Keith Tebow.
And thank you for joining us, and we'll see you on election night in November, November 7th. Have a great night.
Good night.